Resume share. Resume share before you do that. There we go. From the beginning. From the beginning. There we go. All right. Bucketbills, tell me something good. It can be personal, it can be business. It's got to be something good, though. What's going on with you? That's good. Tiana.
I just closed on last Tuesday on my listing in Commerce.
A pain does not nearly communicate the level of annoyance that this deal was. Not kidding. You guys have no idea. Like, she had like 3 breakdowns. She had to have extra therapy. It was.
Our breakdowns are mental.
All of it. Absolutely.
It was all about me.
Awesome.
And she's the go-to for all things zoning and
I don't know that she wants that. She's like, I had enough of this. That's awesome. No, but congratulations. And you saw it through and your clients were taken care of. 100%, right?
Yep.
Because you were attentive and you saw to it that everything was done. Even when things were going poorly, you didn't throw your hands up. You just continued to persevere. And now you have very happy clients that are overjoyed to work with you. Right? Can't lose sight of that. What else?
I got a contract on my townhouse last night.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very good. So what are we going to
17th, May 17th.
May 17th. All right. Awesome. Somebody owns a new house. Somebody's a new homeowner.
Yes, I closed on my own personal house on Friday.
Congratulations. What else? Give me one more. One more. I'm at the gym. It's like, give me one more. You got it. One more rep.
I'm going on a listing appointment after this, but she already wants to list on Friday. So it's like,
You're like, bam, let's go.
much work lately,
No.
right?
That's it. That's it. Awesome. Congratulations. Right? Awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. I appreciate it. I think that it's important that we start off with good things, gratitude. Right? Every day we should start off that way. Some days are harder than others, but that's how we should start off. That will bring us more energy and more business and more just success in the long term. Can you click on the bucket bills? There we go. Our strategic partners, Nikki, Joy, and Tim, come on down. Oh, do you want to go?
She always has to run out.
Oh,
No, you're good.
Whatever you said last week.
sorry, I'm a substitute. I don't know how this is supposed to go. I'm just winging it.
I do the Keller Williams Roadshow.
See that?
It's just like I'm sure.
Are you calling us all antiques? You know, the demographics of
Only
the
some
North,
of us did.
like statistically, the average real estate agent is a 63-year-old white woman.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, a realtor is a 63-year-old white woman. That's statistics. That's
Wow.
the demographic.
Wow.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Sure. We're gonna talk about
First time buyers that are obsessed with a lot of things. One of this, their credit scores, right? Because they have access to them, which is good, but they worry about them in many cases because interest rates are high. They really worry about them. They realize that compromise their ability to get a best rate, which just may not be the best rate ever, but it's going to be the best rate in the current market environment. The thing that we wanted to mention is we have a number of first-time homebuyer programs that not only give the homebuyer potential cash, not cash, but a credit, a grant, thank you. One's up to $8,000, $3,000, $5,000, different buckets. But the biggest thing about them is, in my opinion, is if you're, let's say you have a 680 credit score and you know that you want to get it, your score is high enough so that you have the best possible. All these programs basically treat a 680 score as if it's 780 or 800 just for first-time home buyers. So you basically get the best rates along with the cash. So two points. One is they shouldn't obsess about trying to go from a 680 to a 710, spending money that they could be using for the down payment that now they've compromised because they had to pay off whatever debt that they had. So have them talk to us, and with these first-time home buyers, you're not gonna have to have that person concerned that they're not gonna get the best terms. Their score is gonna be the same, but that gets them in the market sooner, and they're gonna get the same interest rate, whether they're at 780 or 680, so why not start now and find something?
What we call the pricing on our end is a little bit better for certain buyers, in
Yes.
certain programs, so. It's, if you have a person who buyer, the message is, have them talk to us because we can explore options.
Yes.
Okay, because it's a little bit different for them and they need some handhold, some time. They need to know their buying power, so just get them with us.
Can I ask a point of clarity? I know sometimes for certain programs, a first-time home buyer is anyone who has not owned a house for 3 years.
And that is still cool.
So it doesn't mean that they've never owned a house. It just means that they haven't owned a house. They have no ownership in a home for the last 3 years. So just for that point of clarity.
I also want to clarify, because Joy's working with my folks. Now, this is not.
Really?
Home buyer pro. Joy can't.
Oh. I didn't even know you guys even knew each other.
Yes, it could.
Fill out, fill it.
Oh, my God.
So, beyond all that, she's working with, this is not a first time home buyer. I've worked with this guy several times. And he's on the edge, so he says, well, I gotta pay this, and this. And
Yeah.
so it's like, whoa, slow down.
Don't do anything like that.
Talk to the lender first before
Yeah.
you start paying stuff off, because as Tim rightly said, sometimes you're diminishing reserves
Yes,
when you don't need.
yes.
You can always
know
do
your
it later.
bucks.
Exactly, and they can do it at closing. You too, they can have a card, have a credit card at closing.
You
So I
want
don't want them to
assets.
do anything ahead of time.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're giving these programs for, with assets because people, it's a market now where prices are going up, but the down payment, even if it's 3%, is still substantial. So the worst, not the worst thing, but the thing you might be shooting yourself in the foot is by paying everything
Yeah.
off, and now you've liquidated some of those assets that have been used to buy the house to begin with. This is a way of making sure they don't do that, and then they still get the best.
Just a quick question. I've been hearing a lot of that interest rates are. Sure, Christian.
Yeah, yeah, at the beginning of the year, everybody thought they were getting highs by now, but we are, they're like, what happened? I mean, a lot's going on in the world, obviously, just talking about it.
Yeah, but we always expect when we see the rates going up, we're gonna have this kind of conversation about what's going on. I mean, primarily, you see gas prices are, they've gone up like 50 cents, it seems like in the last month or two. The Israeli-Iranian situation, because there's lots of oil that comes from there and other global concerns from the potentially wider war, that everybody's nervous, and that's why,
They went up.
really,
Maybe a broader question. What drives the acceleration of the?
you're the expert. You are, I'm serious.
So we know historically the average spread between the 10-year treasury, because remember the 10-year treasury and the mortgage-backed securities are competing for investment money. That's really what's happening there. And so the 10-year treasury is a more secure investment because, basically you're basing your investment on the good faith and credit of the United States. And I was looking to see if the investment people were here, but I don't see any of them. So I was going to ask
And
for
Ray does
clarity.
talk about that a lot.
Yeah, so if you're gonna invest in mortgage-backed securities, then you want a spread, so you wanna get a better return on your investment. Now, historically, that's around 1.72, because you're pricing in additional risk for having a mortgage-backed security. Right now, with inflation concerns and the consumer price index just came out last week, it just dropped, it came up a little higher than we were hoping that it would. And then you have global unrest in Gaza, you have a global unrest between Iran and Israel, you have global unrest with Russia and Ukraine. So what they're basically doing is they're pricing in more risk. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And so that spread balloons, like on March 31st, I think our slide's gonna say it was 3.14, and I imagine that it's higher than that right now, but I haven't priced it out.
And the mortgage-backed security, or the 10-year, 10-year NIB is 4.6.
And that's what we've got.
So if you factor,
David, for clarification, so they're putting in additional 72%.
that was on average, it's higher.
That's on average. Yeah, right now we're over a point higher than average.
Yeah.
Like even if we just got down to average,
Yes.
our mortgage rates would drop by a little over a point.
Yes,
Would put us right now you said it was 7.125?
7 and an 8?
Yes.
Low
that's-
sevens?
That's about,
Sorry, I'm not trying to put numbers.
no, that's,
But low 7, so basically, even if we just got back to normal average, historic averages, that would put us at around 6%.
So the mortgage companies are
no, the investors,
Investors.
yeah, we're just reacting, we just tell you what the market's saying, that the mortgage-backed securities are, well, what they're costing to, you know, what they're gonna sell them for, because the risk for those is, and the 10-year note is basically like cash. They, their full faith and credit is, the United States is through.
And what, your question was what we have to share. So then it depends on inflation, it's an election year, you want to think certain.
Yeah, and honestly, guys, I know we want interest rates to go down. Man, I would just encourage you not to be too obsessed with that, because quite frankly, the reason why we got so much price increase in terms of housing and everything else is because the cost of money was too low. You know, we should never see 2 or 3% again. We just shouldn't. It's not good for the economy.
No.
It's good for a short-term period. It's kind of like injecting your vein with heroin. You're gonna feel really good for a minute.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
Just saying, I've never done it, but I've been told.
You know what? It's gonna be addicted to it like people are right now.
Right,
They
exactly.
just freaked out about it. And here's the other thing that keep in mind, all of us especially. If you look at the moving average, projected out, it's 7.17. Guys, this is where we are historically.
Yeah.
We got so spoiled with the below 3%, even to 4%. It's, some people say don't ever say never, but I can't imagine us ever seeing that again. You need to educate your people.
We had an unprecedented financial crash, right? And what they did was they lowered interest rate, and then they even went so far as to do quantitative easing, where the basically the Fed was buying a bunch of
Yeah.
securities to put more money into the market.
Yeah.
We saw them do that during the pandemic. We saw them buy unprecedented numbers of mortgage-backed securities. So basically, they said, "All right, we're gonna, we guarantee we're gonna buy, what was it, like 10 billion or something a month worth of mortgage-backed securities." So they gave. We talk about mortgage-backed securities. Remember, they make the loan, but then they have to package those up and sell them. They would run out of money if all of the money came from them. They have to be able to sell them and get that money back.
Those people who are buying them are the ones that.
Exactly.
That's where,
exactly right.
that's where the risk is, because the mortgage companies would love to have 4%. They're so busy they couldn't stand it, but
Well, and the government did us a real good solid and said, no matter what you write those loans at, we're gonna buy them, which is why we got to 2.25, 2.5, and all the rest of that nonsense. Yep, absolutely.
Good.
Thank
On
you.
that happy note,
Okay, I was like, okay. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Miss Tiffany. Come on down. You're the next contestant on.
I am, and not only was her first home purchase, first closing. If you didn't buy it till I was Bill, so I got to meet her whole family, and that was just amazing, and I'm so excited for you guys. And my next thing was to congratulate all the Neymar nominees and recipients. That was a beautiful night, and it was so fun. I'm gonna do like a Neymar plug, but I know a lot of people don't participate in Neymar, but it really is like a great organization, and they do a lot of stuff for you guys that you like behind the scenes, like the RPAC and all that kind of stuff. So nobody's paying me to say this, but you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes with Neymar and RPAC right now, with all of the legislation and rulings and all that stuff. I think that we were recognized because of how much our firm, when RPAC said we're not going to pay anything else for this stuff, we said, you know what, we'll pay for it. So O'Kelly and Sorohan has funded like a lot of the
activities and
Yeah.
initiatives.
We're not supposed to say the word lobbyist, but activist. I don't know.
Activist.
But yeah, realtor supports personnel. I don't even know. But just know that participating in those type of groups is really like participating in your future. I mean,
It's also the protection of the industry. I was one of the, for 8 years. I went to Capitol, we walked in senators and congressmen offices for the representative's office. You know, you don't see this out in the field. But what's going on up there is important, especially right now. Long as I've been involved with Tamar and all the crap that I do, there's years ago. Don't really know what's going on, but you know, when somebody says support RPAC, if you've never done it before, better do it now. And I have one other question. What was your award?
Yes.
affiliate of the year.
Affiliate of the year?
No, I mean, and I'm not like a spokesperson name or pack or anything, but I get so many questions and emails every single day, texts, calls, what's going on with this, what's going on with that, and I just want you guys to all know that behind the scenes, Opelian Sorhan is working tirelessly and very expensively to protect you and your business and what you have, because if you guys don't have a business, we don't have it. So, you know, like it's in our best interest to make sure that support it. But if y'all have any questions, let me know. Joe Kelly is really like kind of been the ringleader in all of it. I can always ask him questions, but like, I get a lot of questions. Like, so if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But just know that we're doing everything for you, business, and careers, for industry. Because again, if y'all don't have careers, we don't either. So a little self-serving,
Yeah.
but you know,
We need advocates. We need to be supportive of you.
thank you guys.
Thank you very much. You know, Jason Bonds always likes to say, because I think we all have a specific, you know, idea of what RPAC is or what a lobbyist would look like, and lobbyists have a negative connotation. But I do want to remind you that if you're, you know, Jason Bonds likes to say, if you don't have somebody at the table, then you're on the table. Meaning that if you're not, you know, if you don't have representation at the meal, then basically they're eating you. Yeah, then you are the meal, right? So having that, whether we agree with everything that's happened or the way everything's been handled, understand that they're the only people, the National Association of Realtors is the only people fighting for us. 100%. All right. Kelly Lukinda is not in. Dan, just so you guys know, Dan's actually saving me over $1,000 a year in my own personal insurance. So I just had him quoted. I just finally got, you know, anybody ever feel like I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, and then you don't do it, and then you finally do it, and you're like, oh, well, that took like 15 minutes, and you learn nothing from it. That's me. But it's gonna save me that 15 minutes. Is gonna save me $1,000 a month or a year, not a month. A month would be great, but it's a year. And then John Fountain, we had Homeward certification last week. It's just another program that we can use to grow our business.
Can I interject? On Homeward does a clue report. Who does the clue report?
Homeward does that?
I'm sorry, not Homeward. Georgia Home and Office does the clue report. Who knows what the clue report is? Okay, so I would say the clue report is an insurance report that tells you, and as a buyer, I can use that to do what the property, like if you're representing the buyer and it tells you how many claims against the property. And it also tells what you have had claims that you have filed. So when we just purchased our home, we almost couldn't buy homeowners insurance. I'm just gonna tell you right now. We just had our 2 previous properties, we had a roof purchased by the insurance company, one property, and it just so happened the second roof was on the first and the front end of our ownership. So we had 2 roofs replaced on our insurance, and then we had a water leak that we also claimed. I will tell you right now that I will 100% not file a claim under $10,000. It's just, I know it sounds crazy, we do insurance, but I just want you guys to be prepared, and I want you to prepare your buyers that, you know, to be mindful as you go into doing your claims and getting your quotes, but, I almost had to buy, freakishly high insurance. I did end up finding another company, and tried to quote, could not quote. And then, I had Steve Marsh try to quote, could not find us somebody. I did end up finding someone to do the policy, at a reasonable quote. Just be mindful, if you have 3 claims within 5 years, that will address the, hurt as well as a roof that's 15 years old or older.
Gotcha. Okay. You had one
Well, I
quick
just
thing?
wanted to piggyback on that, like, insurance, we see it all the time, like, the very last minute, try to. I mean, the wicked business. You guys, put that in your buyer's pack. Tell them to start shopping. Or they get a high, but, you know. So let's make that.
And if the roof has too little life left, they may not even be able to get insurance. So that's one thing to remember. Because what do you think the #1 homeowner's insurance claim is, by the way? Roof replacement. Because if you listen to most roofers, they're like, don't worry about it, you're not even gonna have to pay for it. We'll get the insurance company to pay for it.
Right.
And so basically what we're doing is we're financing new roofs when we're paying our insurance, which anyway. Another thing we could talk about. All right. If you're a vendor partner, if you would stand up, introduce yourselves, and tell us what you do.
Make coffee, sure thing. I'm Rob Johnny with Sure Thing Home Inspection.
James Zarver with Ensign Building Solutions, water fire rescue.
Brian with Georgia Pro Study.
Sammy Baker, contractor. That's all.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. All right, so in April, we have later on today, Miss Demetria is going to be doing website wonders, maximizing your online impact as a new agent. As we have a lot of technology tools, if you're not using them, then you're making a mistake. We offer more technology tools than any other company. If you're not using them, you're making a mistake. Just do it with Demetria and Kim. So that's all every Monday from 11 to 12. Mortgage training next week on April 23rd at 12:30. We will be doing a mortgage master. I won't be doing it. They will be doing. Guarantee will be doing a mortgage mastermind, holding a first-time home buyers seminar. Holding a first-time home buyers seminar. All right, Alyssa, sorry, is coming in on April 18th from 10 to 1. That is going to be CE, and it's going to be maximizing social media. Rachel Davenport is here on the 24th, mastering the listing game and dominating the real estate market, 11 a.m. to 12:30. Thea is going to be doing social media mastery on the 24th as well from 1 to 2:30. So you guys can just kind of bring a lunch, camp out. It's going to be a great day. Level Up Your Coaching is on the 25th. So if you are mentoring anyone, if you are coaching anyone, obviously if you're in the productivity coaching program, you'll be here. But if you're in leadership in any way, or you want to start a team, or you just want to learn to communicate better, that's a great class. Sunrise Mixer, April 25th from 8 to 9:30, Papa Jack's. And Holly Clem will be in for Fierce Negotiations on April 30th at 11 a.m. We talk about wanting to be a good negotiator for our clients. It's a great opportunity to level that up. That makes sense? I feel like one of the things that we struggle with or that we lack in a lot is in negotiation. And we just need to learn some tips and trips. Or tricks and tips and tricks. Tricks are for kids. I don't know if you guys know that. Anyway, moving on. Coaching call every day from 9 to 9:30. And then next week, we're doing listing prospecting mastermind. So where are we finding those listings at? Career Day is this Saturday, April 20th at 11 a.m. It's an easy way to grow your profit share tree. Guys, I would encourage you when you're doing your newsletters, include things like Career Day, include things like pre-license class, because you never know who's in your database that's considering a career in real estate. And this would be an awesome opportunity for you to grow your profit share tree. Gary, not Keller, that'd be great. But Gary Nicholson's in my profit share tree because I sent out an email to my database announcing a class. He had just gotten done with his class. We went and met, had lunch. I talked to him, gave him a copy of the MREA. And he's probably put, I don't know, $10,000 or $12,000 in my pocket. That was worth the lunch. That was worth the email, right? I mean, granted, it's only $2,000, $2,500 a year. Adds up though. All right, value squared. If you guys haven't done this, is a great opportunity. Again, we're going to talk here in a minute about the settlement. And please understand the settlement's not approved. That all has yet to play out. This is a great opportunity for you to start communicating your value. In absence of value, price is the issue. That makes sense? In absence of value, price is the issue. Remember, you bring value to your clients. That value has a cost, and it's okay. You're worth it. But if you don't communicate your value, then all they're going to be looking for is the least expensive way to move forward. Even though it's probably not going to actually save them money in the long run, it's probably going to cost them money in the long run.
Hey, David, on that real quick. So on the 25th, the leadership team is here, going to be streaming it. Anybody wants to participate in it, feel free to jump in.
Yeah. And I've been to it. I also know that every time it's a little bit different. And if anybody's done any kind of presentation at all, whether it be your listing presentation, your buyer brokerage presentation, whether you're doing a presentation in front of people, as you do it, you learn little things that you want to do differently next time. So every time's a little bit different. The content's the same. So even if you've sat in on it, you might want to sit on it again on the 25th. It will be helpful. All right, we have, as I mentioned, one of the easiest things to do is to send your database, announcements of pre-licensed classes coming up. This starts on 4/30, so April 30th, and it runs through 6:15. That's an evening class and Saturday morning. So Tuesday, Thursday, 6 to 10, Saturday, 9 to 1. Mega Agent Day is May 1st from 9 to 3. Okay, so they're going to have a lot of the top agents come in. There is pricing. Early bird price is $199. Today is the last day to get that early bird pricing. After today, it's going to be $229. Okay, after today, it's going to be $229. So again, this is one of the things that our company provides that I don't feel like enough of us take advantage of it. I include myself here. So MAPS coaching, these are free coaching classes that you can attend on Thursday. Earn 1 appointment per 10 contacts using this approach. How does the mega lead conversion class work? 25. Pulse, list like a boss. In May, we're going to have on the 1st, pathway to 100 listings, and on the 8th, sign sellers now. Okay, get those listing agreements signed now. Any questions on any of the classes or the opportunities that we have coming up? Okay, you can do a quick market update here. So our recent research at 1000 Watt tells us that consumer sentiment on this issue, by the way, what do you think it's talking about, this issue? Just from starting out this issue, what's the thing that we've heard a lot about over the last, I don't know, 2-3 weeks? Yeah, exactly, right? So consumer sentiment on this issue is malleable and volatile. People have just been blitzed with NAR agrees to slash commissions headlines that may ignite mass consumer price sensitivity. But behavioral inertia, I like to add a few extra syllables to things, makes me sound smarter. Inertia is strong, and it's a long way from a headline to the very personal and very serious decision to get help buying a home. Guys, it's kind of funny. We all participate in social media, some of us more than others, and I'm not one of those. I should do more, I don't. I wonder how much the public would even know about it if there weren't a million realtors on Facebook talking about it. Just an observation, right? Just an observation.
Well, when the president says on TV.
Yeah, because people listen to the president.
Talking about your DOJ saving sellers thousands of dollars, that's a problem. This is why I keep saying, I think it's going to be equilibrium after a short period of time, but in the meantime, we need to know how to talk. I think he's exactly.
Well, and so the reality of it is, there's outside of offices just like this, rooms just like this, there is a lot of misconception about real estate and real estate commission and all the things that we do. And to some extent, we have ourselves to blame because we haven't always been transparent. And another way that we have ourselves to blame is sometimes we don't show them the duck feed. And what I mean by that is have you ever heard the be like a duck? like basically to where what everybody can see, it just looks calm, still, everything but the feet underneath are going like this. Well, transactions, a lot of times we act like the duck, where we've got everything that our clients can see, just calm, cool, and collected, and underneath our feet are going like crazy. And it might help us prove our value a little bit more if they knew a little bit more about all the crap that we were using our duck feet for. I know that we want to deliver 10 plus customer experience, but I think there's a way to deliver 10 plus customer experience, reassure them that don't worry, we've got this, and also let them know all the different stuff that's going on that we're actually protecting them from. A good buyer presentation is probably going to handle some of that, right? Where you can let them know some of the things that are going to happen or could happen. All right, confusion leads to fear. We see that all over Facebook in a lot of real estate mastermind groups. Fear leads to panic. See that too. Where we can't get to is this last one, panic leads to paralysis. Okay? Because if you are panicked enough, then you don't do anything. We've heard paralysis by analysis. You think about things so long that you never actually do anything. You can be scared about something so much that you never take any steps and you just are stuck there. Right? Don't let this be the issue that drives you out of the business, because I promise you there will be many real estate agents still making a very good living in this business far after you're gone if this is what drives you out. I will be one of them. Which of the following statements do you agree with most? When you buy a home, you should definitely have someone who represents your interest during the whole process. Buying a home is something you can do mostly on your own, perhaps just with a lawyer to help with the paperwork. Okay? So this was a survey that they did. 76% of people fully buy into the idea of having a real estate agent is important and valuable. A little less than a quarter of the people think they just need some help with the paperwork. As a real estate agent, what's that? They're like, I got it. So let me ask you this, as a real estate agent, what value do you bring that's not paperwork?
Experience, negotiation.
Knowledge.
Experience, negotiation.
Knowledge.
Knowledge, by the way, experience, that's too esoterical.
Broad,
Too broad. What experience of what?
specifically about the marketplace, about contracts, about negotiation, about how to navigate issues with a contract during the process. I mean, I could give you 100 cases.
All right.
where
Let's not do all 100.
we won't, but I'm just telling you that that experience in a general sense is it's an umbrella for a lot of other.
Right.
That's not specific.
Right. And what I also want people to know, especially younger agents or less experienced agents, they don't have to have been in the business. How long? Like, so you sold Caesar his first house? Was that nice?
After Caesar moved out, I sold.
Okay, you got it after that. Okay, got it.
36 years, but I mean, look, the market's changed.
Yeah. I just want you to not hear 36 years of experience and think I don't have things to offer. Does that make sense?
Oh, no. I say this all the time. I am constantly amazed by some of the newer agents coming into business, innovating and doing some things that I go to class.
Exactly.
I mean,
So let me ask you this. Before we even get to the point of making an offer, what do we have to help them do? Find a house. How many times have you worked with a buyer, for the people that have worked with a few buyers, that you sat down with the buyer and the buyer says, I want X, Y, and Z, and they end up with A, D, and F? Because they didn't even know A, D, and F was a possibility. And they're not going to know about that, because if they just go into it saying, I want X, Y, and Z, and they don't have us helping them self-discover what they really want, they're going to end up with X, Y, and Z, and are they happy with that? Probably not, right? Probably not. All right, of respondents agree, 91% of respondents, this is a different one, this is done by Bright MLS, agree it would be very stressful to navigate the home buying purchase or process without a real estate agent or broker, and 87% of respondents believe a real estate agent or broker is an essential trusted advisor for a home buyer. The reason why I'm giving you these statistics is so that you can walk out being self-assured that you bring value and people see the value even if the media tells us they don't. The vast majority of people see your value, even if the media tells us that we have no value and all we do is open up doors. Okay? All right. Will inventory improve for the spring housing market? The inventory of homes actively for sale increased in 45 of 50 of the largest metros compared with last year. And in 4 large metros, inventory was above pre-pandemic levels. We are seeing that in Gwinnett County. We're seeing that in Barrow County. We're seeing that in Jackson County. I know you do business in Forsyth County. Are you seeing that in the same?
Well, I was gonna make a more general statement. I will tell you that saying that these places are seeing more inventory than pre-pandemic levels is like saying, we need 10, now we have 5, but we have 4.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we're still low on it.
Well, not only
Yes, I'm seeing days on market a little higher.
not only are we low on inventory, we'll talk about this here in a little bit, but we're actually low on the number of homes that we could list, even if everybody listed every single home they have. That makes sense?
Absolutely.
And when we were coming out of the recession, one of the things that put in a floor in Metro Atlanta was, so we bottomed out in February of 2012. That was our low point. The thing that put in our floor was investors, especially corporate investor, hedge fund investor, coming and buying up all of the inventory, because what they could do that we couldn't do as individuals necessarily, or first-time homebuyers, was they could look at the numbers and say, all right, this person's asking $95,000 for this house. It cash flows $1,200 a month. I'm going to write them a check for $95,000. They didn't care about the appraisal. Whereas somebody who was coming in to buy that house had to make sure it appraised, which means that they had 3 foreclosures in that neighborhood, they couldn't get it appraised at the 95. That makes sense? And so while we all agree that it is a challenge for our first-time homebuyers because we have so much investment money in our market, the reality of it is it put in the floor will probably keep us from ever having the type of pullback that we had in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, all the way through 2004. That make sense? All right, change in inventory. Georgia on the whole is up 24.9%. For the first 3 months this year, the inventory of homes actively for sale was at its highest level since 2020. However, while inventories this March is much improved compared with the previous 3 years, it is still down 37.9% compared with typical 2017 to 2019 levels. In March, as in the previous month, the growth in homes, particularly priced in the 200,000 to 350 range, outpaced all other price categories. This is national, not here. As home inventory in this range grew by 30.5% compared with last year. Now, if you do business in this market, you know we're not finding anything for 200,000. Okay, homes actively for sale increased in 45 of the 50 largest metros. So that means you can see right there the trend lines were well above the last 3 years. Here it goes all the way back to 2017. Now you can see we're still below 2017, 18, 19, and the beginning of 2020 before the pandemic, but we're above the 3 pandemic years. Active monthly listings in the thousands. There were 23.5% more homes actively for sale on a typical day in March compared with the same time in 2023. Providing a boost to overall inventory, sellers turned out in higher numbers this March as newly listed homes were 15.5% above last year's levels. This marked the 5th month of increasing listing activity after a 17th month streak of decline. Why do you think that is?
They want to live their lives. They're kind of, they're digesting it out.
So here's the reality. I can either sit here and wait for interest rates to go down and realize that they're probably not, at least anytime soon. They're never going to hit the 3 or the 4% that I have in my mortgage, but I'm still getting married, or I'm still getting divorced, I'm still having children, I still want to move to this other school district, I still want to do this other thing. So probably we're just seeing some acceptance. It's kind of like during the pandemic when all the prices went up. We noticed that the prices haven't gone down, even though the supply chain is fine now. That's just because the American people have gotten used to paying X number of dollars, so corporations have no incentive to lower them. Right? I mean, that's just the long and short of it. So when we talk about interest rates, understand interest rates are only shocking until they're not shocking.
And it's usually about 6 to 8 months. I mean, it's it's like you said, they settle into the new reality. There's two things about this I want to make comment. First of all, having a higher inventory is not a bad thing. That's a great thing. And the other thing is I know other people have heard this, I've heard it. Well, I don't want to put my house on the market because my rate right now is 3%. And, I don't want to pay 7%. The counter to that is the fact that because of 2020, 2021, and half of 22, they have about 50% more equity than they had. So they have more money in their homes right now to be able to counteract either the high interest rate or, they have the large down payment to bring that down to a comfortable level. So people forget what's the phrase? Date the rate, marry the house. That's
I think
really the mentality.
So I understand what you're saying. I don't want us to be that flippant.
Oh, I'm not.
No, I'm not, I just want us to be more thoughtful in our approach. So, one of the things that, like, one of my favorite skips right now is, oh my gosh, you have a 3% interest rate? Why would you sell? Or why would you move? Put it back on them, because then we help find their motivation, because there's a reason they're having the conversation. And they're like, well, we want to be in a good school district. Great, what does being in that school district do for you? What does it do for little Johnny or little Debbie or, ooh, little Debbie's, I love snack cakes. Anyway.
I actually had that conversation yesterday. Earlier last year, and he wants to go to Florida, and his wife wants to be next to his grandkids. So I said, well, then you got onto this, well, I don't want to be 7%. I said, well, what are you losing not being next to your grandkids?
Exactly.
And he had no response. It's like, you never really thought of it. He said, your purpose was to go be next to your grandkid. What are you missing next year?
Yeah.
And he was like,
well, and there's no guarantee rates will drop. And if they do drop, we know buyer activity is going to go way, way up. We'll be back in a high demand seller's market where they can pretty much bend the buyer over and do whatever they want to them and make them write the offer however they want without any protections whatsoever. And now guess what? You got that great new rate. You just paid $50,000 more for your house and you got no protection. Hope the foundation's okay.
yep. So you think when rates drop, the house prices will go up?
I know they will. Now, I shouldn't say I know. Nobody knows. I believe they will. All right, newly listed homes. Again, that's kind of what we're talking about. Consumer attitudes towards home selling conditions increased markedly in February, with current homeowners in particular expressing greater optimism. That's a good time to sell. A development that may foreshadow an upcoming increase in consumer home listings. All right, mortgage rates. This talks about the Fed. I'm going to skip ahead because I know we want to leave a little bit of time at the end, or we want to leave enough time at the end. I want to make sure that we're not squeezed at the end for the announcements. The committee decided to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 5.25% to 5.5%. Again, this is not directly corollary. However, it does have an impact on it. In other words, our mortgage rates don't track this exactly. Mortgage rates track the 10-year treasury. However, their interpretation of where the rates are affects the outlook of what inflation looks like, which will drive mortgage rates. That makes sense? All right. Current expectations are the Fed will start to cut rates at some point between June and September. The exact timing depends on how incoming economic data looks. The Fed's March meeting did not set up the prospect of a near-term interest rate cut, but a summer cut appears likely. They're projecting between June and September. However, they were projecting between March and April.
Do you think the Feds also calculate the turmoil that's taking place? Is that go?
Absolutely. Because understand that any disruptions in the supply chain, any increase in oil prices, absolutely drives inflation.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Fed, remember, the whole reason why we have the Fed is to control the economy, to spur the economy when it needs spurring, and to basically, hold their economy back when it needs holding back. Right now, they feel like it needs holding back because if it's left to run, our prices will get out of control, even more so than they are right now. All right. Again, when we first started talking about this in January, they were projecting in the 5s by the fourth quarter.
That was exactly what I was saying. This is a different chart 3 months ago.
Yep. The only thing that's constant is change. That's why when you talk to people, it's great to have an opinion, You should have an opinion. Your opinion should be on facts, y'all. You should have an opinion based on facts. Don't be just making up some nonsense. That ain't how you do it. You do it based on facts. The reality is that the facts change. 3 months ago, Israel and Iran hadn't gotten into a conflict. Okay. All right. Buyer demand above 7, it's a little weaker. Between 7 and 6.5, it becomes limited. You guys probably saw when we got down almost to 6.5 that we saw a pretty good increase in buyer activity. If we get to good or strong, prices are most would expect prices to go up. And basically the terms of the deal to get less buyer friendly. National Association of Realtors says that for every 1 percentage point that rates come down, 1 million home buyers enter the market. Now that's not Metro Atlanta, that's nationwide, but that does give you kind of an idea of what a lowering of interest rates will do to the buyer demand. All right, housing demand has been on a steady rise due to population and job growth, though the actual timing of purchases will be determined by prevailing mortgage rates and wider inventory choices. All right, affordability, we are still very low. We're that little blue thing. The higher you have the bar, the easier it is to afford things. Our affordability is lower than any time going all the way back to 1990. That's something that we need to be mindful of. That's something that we have to accept and be able to talk about. We can't be dismissive. Does that make sense? Wages, mortgage rates, and home prices all drive affordability. Now, we are seeing wage inflation faster than the trend line. So wages are going up much faster than they've historically gone up. Now, you may not feel that directly, but from a broader consumer, broader market standpoint, they're going up faster than they've gone up in the past. Obviously, that precipitous drop right there was the pandemic. So that's, you can pretty much just rule that out. But anything above the trend line is what we're looking at. Appreciation, the average of all 7. Notice that nobody thinks prices are coming down. Everybody thinks prices are going up. Average is 3.2%. So you must have a relevant market opinion based on facts that what we just talked about. So with such cost comparisons, we can identify whether a market favors renting or buying. So let's talk about this for a second. $400,000 house at normal rates, blah, blah, blah. The mortgage payment, interest and principal and interest is $1,984. The average rent is $1,708. Again, this is across basically the entire country. That means that there's a difference of around $278 or $276. Well, if you buy a property today for $400,000, at the end of 5 years, you will have put $83,385 to the side of your net worth. We know that the average homeowner has 39 times net worth that the average renter does. This is why. This isn't even talking about paying the loan down, because every month that you make a payment, you're paying principal and interest. This isn't taking into consideration principal payments. We look at the difference of cost of buying versus renting is $16,560. Well, you gain $83,385 in equity. You come out to the good of $66,825. Might it be worth it if your budget allowed for it, for you to pay $300 more a month to own something as opposed to rent? It may be harder now.
I saw that it said it's 50% cheaper to rent. True. I can't quantify that, but
We could look at that. I mean, obviously, we can't cover all that right now, but you could do that study yourself and understand that a lot of times rental markets are not the same as purchase markets. So make sure that your rental market that you're comparing it to is in the same area that your purchase market is. So same school district, same county, same all of those things. Because if you want to tell me that you can rent a 2-bedroom, townhouse, a 2-1 in Covington for $1,100 a month, but if you want to buy something up here, it's going to be $2,500 a month. Okay, great. I agree with that. However, the person that wants to buy up here is probably not the person that's willing to rent in Covington. Just make sure that the data is on the same page. All right, from high prices to low inventory, potential home buyers know it's gnarly out there. Gnarly. Okay, and the character you show over the next 60 to 90 days. Again, guys, you cannot dismiss these things. You have to be able to talk intelligently about them and show someone why it's still in their best interest to own real estate. As Gary Keller says, there's never a wrong time to buy the right piece of property. Gary Keller is constantly buying, regardless of the market. All right, distressed sales. Again, we're below pre-pandemic levels. Showing index is above pre-pandemic levels, meaning there are more showings. Mortgage rates were at 6.79. Again, this is mortgage rate projections, blah, 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 blah. Mortgage credit availability. Y'all, this is something that I don't think that we understand nearly enough. We'll see a slide in a minute that shows that we had a surplus of homes starting in 2002 going through the financial crash. Mortgage credit availability, the higher that line is, the easier it is to get a loan. What people don't talk about, because you see people on social media saying, hey, we're setting up a real estate bubble, there's going to be a crash, blah, 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 blah. Problem is that the economics, the foundational pieces aren't there. So we don't have a surplus of homes. We have a lack of inventory of homes, and we'll talk about that here in a second. We also don't have years of loaning money to people that shouldn't get that loan. I was one of those people. Like, I remember I went in and I was flipping 2 houses a month at the time. My business partner and I were both making at least $20,000 a month. And I was looking at a $250,000 house because I wanted to get out of the school district we were in. My business partner said, David, you're making $250,000 a year. It'd be stupid to buy that $250,000 house. You'll just want to move next year. I'm like, you are right. I need the big house on the golf course. That's what I need. He's like, by the way, you need to say that you make $125,000 a year. How much do you make? $125,000 a year. I'm glad you asked. I didn't have to prove anything. I had a great credit score. All I did was sign. It was an interest-only adjustable rate mortgage. Got me into the house. 3 years later, 4 years later, the economy had crumbled. My business partner had lost both of his parents in a plane crash. He went off the deep end. My wife had lost her job. Home bank went out of business, owing me about $30,000, almost $40,000, because I was an appraiser as well. My entire financial picture shifted in a very short amount of time. But understand that at no point on my tax returns did I say that I made $125,000 a year, because I had enough write-offs that it was never that way. That make sense? They haven't had that ability. We haven't had that ability to get those loans, as you can see, since 2006. So we don't have that inventory of homes that are over mortgaged, that are being underpaid in terms of interest only, all of those things. People that probably don't make as much money as they said they made. We don't have that inventory of home loans just ready to go boom at the first spark of a bad economy. That makes sense? Mortgage rate spread, we talked about this. I think it's 3.14 right now, but as of 3/1, it was 2.89. As we talked about, the average is 1.72. So you have, just based on that right there, you have more than a point that you would go down in interest rates if the spread goes back to average. And that's the spread between the 10-year treasury and mortgage rates. And then finally, this is the last slide, and I'll go ahead and call Miss Chelsea up. Single family housing. Notice, this is the average going all the way back to 1970. Average annual units completed, ... We had surplus housing, especially in 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, even 2006. In fact, if we go back to this, the whole reason why we had all of these loan products is because builders had to sell all of these additional homes. It's the only way that we could keep the economy moving in that industry. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Now you'll notice it fell off. Builders went out of business. Banks went out of business. The banks that were in business and the builders that were in business, builders couldn't even bring product out of the ground and make a profit, so they quit building, even the ones that didn't go out of business. Ones that stayed in business couldn't get the loans that they could, because they used to be able to say, hey, I want to build 20 spec houses. Okay, here's your check. Now it's, or maybe not now it's loosened up a little bit, but not a lot. For a while, it was you almost had to have somebody willing to buy the property before you ever brought it out of the ground, before the bank would even loan you money. So we had 14 years below the 52-year average. NAR estimates that we had 2.5 million homes shortage across the United States. And Case Shiller says that it's about 5.2 million homes short of what we should be. Every year, there are more families being created than there are homes being built. That's why we have the inventory problem. That's why we're not going to see a bubble burst. Sorry.
Good job. Thank you, David.
Hey, Kelsey, come on up.
I know we are super short on time, but you know, we have the one and only Maureen with Home of Hope. We're gonna be doing Red Day there, and she's so about it. So y'all welcome Miss Maureen.
You're welcome, Maureen. Would you like?
Eric, and I noticed I have the same suit on in that picture.
It's very becoming.
So thank you for having me. There's so many familiar faces here, and my first question for all of you is, how many of you have been out to Home of Hope or did last time? Sammy, a few familiar faces. Thank you for doing that. So I had the opportunity this afternoon to talk to you guys about what we do, why when you come out and serve with us, how important that is. Here. So talk about the issue of suburban poverty. Immediately when I say suburban poverty or homelessness, it's human nature that we picture the disheveled island vision city. And I can tell you it's a beautiful seeing our video and going to sleep in her car at night in an unofficial safe lot here in Gwinnett County. So Home of Hope serves Metro Atlanta with a focus on that. But I can tell you I've been and seen these beautiful young ladies sleeping in cars and parking lots with their kids. So we have a unique opportunity to address the issue of suburban poverty. So we operate a 40-acre campus out in Beaufort. We are transitional housing where we take young ladies and their kids and they stay with us up to a year or more. There's no expiration date on anybody. And the short version is we keep the family unit together and teach them. What better way to help children is to keep the family unit together. Young lady finds herself in a homeless situation doesn't mean she doesn't have love, her kids and they don't love her back. So really the best way to help those kids is teach mom passes that on to your children, and we like to say it's a multi-generation approach to ending the cycle of homelessness for that. And when we do that and we get on to living, we also, well, you're gonna hear me say it in the video, reduce the rate of recidivism to the need for social services, which help you and I. So first and foremost, that families think are our greatest tool, and we have this unique opportunity to do what we do. I think the thing we're most surprised at, April 7th, probably my 10th year on that, started this program, former children's shelter, and part of the agreement coming on board was severing ties with the state, the private, fighting price back work. And so we do what we do with no government. So yeah, so maintaining a 40-acre campus, there's lots to do as you see. But anyway, I'm going to get ahead of myself. I have a quick 4.5-minute video that we recently shot. And in each of the brochures I left with you, my business part in it, and my personal cell phone. Call me, message me, come out and see me, make sure I'm there so I can show you around myself. Okay, play that video. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm actually gonna do that real quick. Can you stay up here? I just wanna ask you a couple questions after the video.
Yeah.
All right, so this is sign up to serve. So this is our sign up genius.
Yeah, this is where you get to actually pick where you want to serve. So there's some options inside and outside, and it's very organized, so you can pick whatever you'd like.
It's very
Wait,
organized,
Get
guys.
your votes out really quick.
As somebody who's been involved in a lot of red days, I've been in some not as organized ones. This one's gonna be amazing. This one's gonna be amazing. Not just because Chelsea's done a great job, but we've also had a lot of insight given to us by Home of Hope on what they need. So everything that we're doing is something they genuinely need. That makes sense? All right, everybody get a chance to scan it that wanted to scan it. You will also be getting an email with the sign up genius on it. So don't be like, oh, I couldn't sign off, I didn't scan it. We'll make sure you have the link.
I'll just come find you.
Okay?
Home of Hope is a transitional living facility for homeless children from birth to 17, along with their young moms. We take our guests from homeless to feeling more hopeful and ultimately into a home of their own.
When you think of a shelter, some people may think of a large room with cots, and it is absolutely not like that.
When you enter the campus and you see the home-like environment, the rooms, the dining, the playground for the kids, and you realize that this is so much more than a shelter.
Homelessness is alive and well out here in the suburbs. Home of Hope developed a multi-generational solution to ending the cycle of homelessness.
Literally, these children are out on the streets with their mom. And when they come to Home of Hope, they have a place that's safe.
What I liked most about Home of Hope's mission is how you guys provide a safe place for people to get back on their feet, and then providing them the skills and the accountability piece to be able to keep them standing on their feet and continuing on with their future.
Our kids are our greatest joy. They have one job to do, and that's be free to be wonderful, happy, secure children, while we put Mom on a very high accountability program designed with her and for her to get her to independent living.
We are teaching them how to go out and live a better life. We are breaking the cycle of homelessness 2 generations at a time.
We have the ability to change the trajectory of these young people's lives. And when we do that, we also reduce the rate of recidivism to the need for our social services, and that's something that we're really proud of.
This is a place where we build homes.
My marriage became toxic and unpredictable, and so I made a decision, hard decision, to leave, pack up everything and leave with only 75 cents in my bank account. My first impression was, I was like, wow. I found a place that was clean, safe, and very accommodating, and was willing to understand what situation I came from. And Home of Hope was those hands of hope that blessed me. And to the volunteers, keep doing what you're doing, because you are the vessel God is using for better to come, especially for single moms and the kids.
I became homeless. Home of Hope was literally the last place on my list to call. It was my last hope. Having my own dresser, a closet, a bathroom, it brought me to tears. I had come from nothing to something again. So I've been able to pay off my debt. I'm working on establishing better credit. I have been able to save a good bit of money. So hopefully within the next 6 months or so, I'll be able to make my first huge investment and buy a home to create stability for me and my 2 sons. I would love to thank everyone here at Home of Hope and the love that they've shared. My message to all of the staff here at Home of Hope would be to continue to spread unconditional love and hope to us mothers that are in this situation currently, that we will overcome eventually.
I was here in the program for 1 year and 1 month. The number one most helpful thing to me at Home of Hope was the guidance and the care. To the donors, thank you. And it's not taken lightly at all whatsoever. Ms. Maureen and the team from when I was here know that they have a very special place in my heart. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
When you drive through the gates and onto our campus, it changes something in you. When you get to see it, feel it, and touch it, it moves you to want to do something bigger.
When you're able to personally experience a success story here at Home of Hope, it has the greatest feeling that I've had in my life.
I see why you're proud of that video. Video's amazing.
Yeah.
I was one of the people that got to tour, when we were looking at projects on, I think it was Thursday, is that right? No, Friday, it was Friday. For anybody who doesn't know, I lost my daughter 2 years ago yesterday. It's not about me, but what I do want to share with you is that sometimes it's hard to remember how blessed we are. And getting to walk through there and see some of the struggles, not meet, we didn't meet anybody individually, I don't want to sell it like that, but just seeing and understanding the Home of Hope and their mission and the people that they help out. I started out that we should start every day with gratitude, and sometimes it's harder to do that than others. This is a great way for you to understand some of the blessings that you have. So with that being said, I kind of saw you doing this towards the end of the video. Clearly you have a heart for these people, for this situation. How did you come to that?
How did I come to this mission?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. This wasn't even my background, nonprofit management. Many years ago, I was fortunate enough to be home with my girls. I was in commercial real estate, shopping center management development many years ago. And so as my girls got older, they told me to come to school so much. So I started volunteering. So that's how I got into, apparently I have leadership skills. Some call it bossy. I don't know, I'm going with leadership skills. But I ended up running another nonprofit born out of volunteerism. And from building and growing what we grew there, I got a lot of public recognition for it. And I was asked to come over to tour the former Gwinnett Children's Shelter, that beautiful campus, because they were needing a change. They didn't know what. And so I went over, toured, and talked with them. Before that meeting was over, they were asking me to bring an idea I had to that campus. And really, it's just God ordered steps. I remember the day, Graham Morgan. Yeah, he's the reason I'm there. And he sat there, and when he said, "We actually know who you are. We like your idea. We want you to bring this campus." First thing out of my mouth was, "No, not me. It would be too big. I don't feel qualified. I don't know how." And that's when I hit him with too. I'd several times say, like, Christ, and have more faith in your business community, civic. Just give. Want to help children, family unit together, teach mom. His answer was, "Well, I think that our executive agree with you. Sounds like you need to go home and pray about it, and let me know tomorrow if you're interested in the discussion." Then also more spiritual. Beautifully crying away because I knew how to just. I didn't know how I was going to do. That was a state with a $2.3 million annual budget that almost worked funding. Knew it was 52% of their annual budget. I could budget losing money, and I said yes. So, but we did it in 10 years. April 7th was 10 years. So I got there in that journey. That there's a mess in my message and a test in my testimony. 10 years later, I didn't know how we were going to do it. I knew I wasn't saying no. And the angel singing moment for me was, I called one of the sisters and said, that I was just crying. And she said, "You have to," I said, "No, quick, it's too big." And she said, "You have to remember God doesn't always really put, but He really put He just been talking." And so, yeah, I didn't sleep a lot in this first 3-4 years, and it's incredibly stressful. But, you know, there were things I could tell you all day long, those things that happened that just teach them to fish, like focus on the mission and what I'm passionate about, and the rest of it. And then, yeah, with the amazing team.
So one of the things that I love, and I think that sometimes we struggle to wrap our head around this. Everybody in this room is an entrepreneur. Everybody in this room believes in the basically the opportunity that this country provides you. Understand that there are a lot of communities, a lot of situations that they never see that opportunity. Does that make sense? And you only know what you've seen. And so this gives an opportunity to share basically a way for them to get to where they can fish themselves. And they may not even see a possibility of that going into this. And so you are, not just you, your team, they're restoring the hope in so many families and giving them, basically equipping them to go out and do things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do. And that's amazing. So I have one more question for you. Obviously, we're all going to show up on Red Day because we just will. What's 2 or 3 other things that we can do aside from Red Day to support your cause?
Well, the obvious one funds. It's a 7-figure budget still, and we raise it privately every year.
Bob will write that check. What else?
I didn't hear the number, so.
Yeah, it's a, actually 25. But anyway, there's an opportunity there to educate our moms. Sarah in our video here, she's still with us. She's wanted to buy a home, and that was a plan for her. She saved a lot of money. She has probably more than a lot of people in her savings account. She could go to a first time home. But I want her to get matching down assistance, things that could help with home repairs and the education piece. There's an opportunity there. We do life skills training every Wednesday night, and it's mandatory. Have to come to life skills on Wednesday. There's an opportunity to instill hope when you teach. You think you can't own a home, you can be a homeowner in 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5, whatever it is. But giving that extended piece of hope to someone like Sarah, she's ready. She does need to work on her credit score and her work history. She's been with us a little over a year. So she'll go there, but now she's going to subsidized housing for another year or 2 to help her save or work on her credit.
Gotcha.
There's a life skills training opportunity, I guess is the short.
Yeah, and it can be about business, it can be about anything, but guys, we're always looking for reasons to reach out to our database. If you're not looking for reasons, then you're missing an opportunity. This would be a great opportunity to do something good for your business and something amazing for them. So you could have it be as a portion of your closings goes to Home of Hope. You could be, we're doing a national, or not national, but we're doing a fundraising drive for Home of Hope. We have a Red Day event coming up. We're looking for materials donations. Again, if you're not looking for reasons to talk to your database, you're failing. Sorry. And this is a great reason to talk to your database.
I also want to add to this. When was the first time we? 2019. Okay, so I want to challenge everybody in. Because I don't know the gentleman's name, but he was on that.
Doug Meyer.
Doug, was it Doug? You know what I'm about to say, don't you?
I do.
I don't.
Okay. When Tina and the group went out there, I don't know if I was on that trip.
You were.
We went out there and looked at the projects, and you were saying, here. I got the impression and then heard later that Doug said, "It's gonna be like her." At the end, let me finish. At the end of the day,
he was
walking around thanks us so much because we hit that place like a storm.
Yeah, you did.
And it was the difference visibly was remarkable.
Yeah.
And obviously we hope that it helped in the long run. But I challenge everybody here to blow his doors off or his replacement's doors off this time again, because it was one of the most satisfying, if not the most satisfying.
I think I told you before, that was amazing. That was the most organized, successful volunteer event we've had ever. And yeah, you guys came in.
We got kind of run.
Yeah, it was remarkable.
Sure.
A question. How do you navigate a situation family?
It's sexual. Keeping everybody safe.
So, I mean, children are in case figured out.
So, it's a regular thing, sure. So I could refer on if they have apartments, their programs, and they take fire. But there's other. When we started this program years ago, the largest segment population of suburban populations is children. So that's the opioid epidemic happened more housewives. I really wanted to address that because I have a house up on the campus. I couldn't use for safe for that. But everybody who was walking this journey become Bruce Steele, City of Refuge, people in that county that I met with, my team on campus. When I asked them, why can't we coordinate talking to you? They were stuff. I can't go this. I can't. I'm just got pretty quick on. My director of operations finally said, listen, you want to get your heart, what you want to do here. Our tagline is more hope, where hope lives. If you want hope to live, just don't eat here. I'm knocking out the people around me. And so that was a period at the end of that sentence for me for now. But I feel like if God opens that door again and something happens that I don't. But I'm telling you, I've got a team of, there's 15 of us full and part-time, free 24 hours a day, 300. And I have to listen. I rehired most of them. Yeah, no, we don't do it. But there are other agencies. Gwinnett County currently doesn't have an emergency shelter. Yeah, that's another. And I definitely lost it.
Well, first of all, I find that this has been very encouraging for me. I'm sure you guys have gotten it as well. I think you've started to get a heart for what they do, and you can see why it's important for us, all of us, to show up and show out. So I hope that encourages you to be there on May 9th. And if you've never participated in a Red Day, I know we have some new agents that haven't had the opportunity. I can't tell you the number of times that the gratitude has just been overwhelming for what we're able to do. And this is your community. You are blessed by your community. It is, I don't want to say imperative, but you should feel some sort of motivation to give blessing back to your community. And so I hope that you all feel that. And thank you so very much for sharing your heart and sharing the story. I really, really appreciate you coming in.
I appreciate everybody happy.
All right, lunch is going to be sponsored by Contractors Best, and we have the on-time drawing. Who's got the bucket? All right, the bucket's right there. Miss Demetria, draw that name or that number. Oh, I don't have my glasses. Read the number, draw the number, read the number.
505097.
097, who got it? All right. Yes, sir.
All right. I was going to go into a lot of detail, but we're running a little late. So if you ever want to know, maybe we have a class on how the state, House and Senate affects your business and what we do down there. We work with the Real Estate Association, Real Estate, plumbing, electrical, all that. There's a group of 21 different organizations that we work together in the housing industry at the Capitol the whole way through. So sometime we might go over that, why it's so important for everyone here to at least know what's going on and know who your representative is, because you can push legislation down there that helps this industry and all of us. Kind of real quick, the UDO came out. You guys know that we were working on having houses. They got approved at 1,000 square feet. Got that in. So
what does UDO stand for?
It's the Unified Development for Gwinnett.
Okay.
So it sets the standards of how you can build homes, where you can build homes, all those things.
Which goes to affordability. Which
Yeah.
you say if you want to support somebody that supports us,
Mr. Baker.
So, but anyway, those are good things that just passed. Patio homes are in that. There's also unique areas that are going to build tiny homes, which Gwinnett has never been able to do before. So getting down and working with your commissioners is very important. I'm one political side. The other commissioners that were there, another side, and we got together and we worked it out.
Oh, is that how politics is supposed to work?
Yes.
I just haven't seen that a lot.
So, you know, if you're doing something for the community, doing the right thing, people can come together. So, but real quick about our company, we've been here over 10 years as a preferred vendor, and I've always loved that, enjoyed that. We do $35 termite inspections. We work with several really good home inspection groups that are here, and we go along with them as you request that. And then there's no charge with that. We have super keys, so you tell us we can get there. We try to get there within a 3 to 2-hour period with any of the home inspector companies, so we can tie them together, and you have a really good report. As you see on here, instead of sending you 1,000 different sheets like some people do, we have one sheet that lists pest control, termite, rodent, whatever we find there. We already give you a price so that you know as you're working with details. I think maybe that's about it. Oh, other than you can order online. Instead of taking 3 or 4 minutes on the phone, trying to give us all the information, you can fill all that out on our website and send it under termite letter. We have it the next morning, we call you, or you put special instruction. And then we'll follow that to get you scheduled. Okay, so a Chick-fil-A, some chips and some drinks back there is what I brought today, and a few cookies. Real quick question. Help me with who raises their hand first.
Oh, great.
So
Well,
Kelly.
that's Bob.
Yeah, Kelly McKinnon is not the only one who gets away with it. So I'm imitating her today. What's the 2 poisonous spiders in the US?
You talking about Georgia?
Yes.
Brown recluse and black widow.
You got it.
Actually, brown widow
Those,
too, but
right, those are the only 2 that are actually poisonous in the US in our area. So just let you know, that's it. And we take care of them.
Thank you, Tammy. All right, guys, sorry we ran a little bit late, but it was worth your time. So I hope you found encouragement, information, all that. Eat some lunch, fellowship. Make it a great day.
Good job, Dave.
Did I do all right?
Good job.
You're the only person I cared about. I'm glad you were.